In terms of, for a bit of background on Rivet Games, we've been around for just over a year now. We're based in Stirling in Scotland. The company was made up last February of some ex-Dovetail Games employees, and we hired a few other people. We started off about 10 people in total. At that point we had at least 7 years experience creating train simulator content, and then over the past year we've grew the studio to effectively double the size, up to about 20 people now. We've produced about 3 or kind of almost onto our fourth Train Simulator 1 content. In terms of route DLC, we put out a couple of local packs as well, and we're looking at basically new content for the year ahead, what we're going to produce for that. But in terms of when we're producing the content for essentially Dovetail Games products, but when we're basically producing our own content, we like to take advantage of basically if we can go out and see an operator, or if we can go out and visit the route in person, then we see that as a cost that's worth taking on board up front. We can go out, we can basically survey the route, take some photographs, take some video. If we can get access to the locomotive, which is usually the case after a lot of kind of conversations with the operators, we can usually get access to it. So we would go out and we'd take a lot of photographs internally and externally of the locomotive. Sometimes if we're lucky, then we can get running the locomotive in the cab, and the operator will drive the locomotive either on service or basically just at maybe at a depot or something. They'll take the locomotive down about the line, and we can take some video footage, and we can then use that video footage as reference for replicating how the cab controls work or how the train drives, and basically whenever we replicate it in Train Simulator World or Train Simulator 1. So that's worth that additional cost, and basically the hours put into that, because that shows in the product. It's a lot easier to create stuff, especially in an art perspective, if you've actually seen the thing yourself in person and you've seen it up close. And obviously the more reference the better, so if you can get reference from the manufacturer, technical diagrams or even drivers information, then certainly first-hand information, that helps a long way in setting up these locomotives for the game, so that's really good. In terms of other things that we've done in the past, sometimes you get third parties that have produced cab video rides, so sometimes you can purchase these online. So we'll also purchase them, or books just even off Amazon on the locomotive or the route that we're doing. A lot of times you can purchase them as well. So again, the more research material we've got, the better. In terms of the content that we've produced over the past year, we produced the Gotthardbahn route. That was quite a big route to do for our first route. It was on a lot of player wish lists, and we seen it as a big impact route. So we thought that would be a really good one to do. It took us about 5 months to produce. It's quite a big route in TS1 and for the studio as well, but it gave us that launch impact that we wanted. Kind of put us on the map with Swiss trains, the first standard grade route that we'd done in the Swiss train stuff. We had an SBB loco, the RE460 on that, which was really good as well. So we produced that, and then went on to produce the Silva line, which is a metre gauge route, again in Switzerland. And then after that we produced the Bernina Line route as well, which is another metre gauge line. So all 3 routes have went down well with the players. We're getting a lot of good feedback on it. And they're also asking for a lot more Swiss content as well, so there's a lot of big interest out there for content in Switzerland and also other countries that we might look at in the future as well. So that kind of summarises where we are now and what we've been doing, and obviously we're looking at new ideas and proposals for the year ahead. So what we're showing here is we're showing the Gotthard route that we produced as our first route. It's a Swiss standard gauge route. It's about 115 kilometres long. It's 15 stations, and it's basically one of the key signatures of this is basically the Gotthard base tunnel, the Gotthard original tunnel. The base tunnel is the new version, but this is basically the old version of the tunnel that it's got. It's a 9-mile tunnel section that cuts through the Alps, and because of the incline and the difference in height across the route, then you've got a lot of steep inclines, and there's 3 or 4 spirals across the route. So basically there's a lot of tunnels in the route, there's a lot of kind of high scenic shots, and obviously a lot of stations that the passenger can stop at, the loco can stop at. The loco originally was engineered as basically a freight and a passenger loco, but now primarily in Switzerland it's only used for passenger services. But for the Gotthard route we've got it with both passenger and freight services, just to give the player that experience of the freight service with this type of loco. A lot of the route uses either L or N type signalling. The L type's the older style Switzerland signal system, which is basically, it's throughout most of the route, but you can see in Bellinzona here at the start it's got the N type new signalling. The main difference is the L type signal is all lamp based lights, indicating to the driver the speeds that they have to maintain across the route. Whereas the new N type signal, as you can see there with the 6, it gives you the actual line speed restriction of the 6 being 60 kilometres an hour. And across Switzerland they're slowly replacing a lot of their signalling systems with this new N type signalling, which is more suited to these higher speed trains as well. You can see where they consist on this whenever it passes, that we've got basically a long consist with the passenger coaches, and we've also got the driving coach at the rear end as well, which in some of the scenarios you can drive from the driving coach. You can see here with Bellinzona, it's quite a big station. There's a lot of track infrastructure here and a lot of catenary, which is obviously a big impact on the development of the route. We need to maintain frame rates and be able to put rolling stock in the area as well. So you can see with the amount of catenary infrastructure that's quite a key thing to keep an eye on with this amount of track. So basically in these areas of, when you've got a lot of track, you've got 5 through tracks at this station plus 3 platforms plus a yard. So again, the track geometry itself is a lot for the screen to draw and a lot for the GPU to draw and the CPU. But then when you're putting rolling stock in the route as well, you can see we've got a few trains here in the view, and obviously we've got the overhead line wires that are powering the train. So a lot of that adds to the GPU draw and the CPU draw for the game. So we've got to keep an eye on that whenever we're producing big stations like this. That you want the station to look real and you want it to look busy, but you've got to also have it maintaining performance so the player can have a good experience when they're driving the game. A lot of the features on this, what we tend to do when we're creating big routes like this is we tend to pick out a selection of buildings that we can place in generic places. So for this route we selected a lot of key buildings in our survey reference that looked like typical urban housing buildings in the area, and we'd create so many generic assets for this, and then we'd pick out key iconic buildings like this river bridge that we're crossing now. So a lot of these iconic features we'd pick out and we'd use these in certain places of the route, and that would cement that location in the player's view. Certainly if they know the area, then they would recognise some of these key features. And a lot of these the buildings will be generic buildings that we use to populate the urban density between stations, and just to make the route look busy and realistic. The scenario that we're running now is a winter scenario. Goes all the way from Bellinzona to Erzfeld. So it basically doesn't stop at all the stations, it stops at some of the stations. But this is a good scenario to show off basically the route in snow, which has obviously been alpine and it's quite common. And obviously it shows off the extents of the route and the train and the passenger service. In terms of the train's got a few safety systems that we've implemented in the game. It's got the Integra safety system and the Zub safety system, and you can read all about these in the manual and how we've implemented them to work with the train, so it operates as it would in real life. You can see there's a lot of really nice fantastic views as you're travelling this route, being alpine and being in winter as well. It's really nice. And in terms of the RE460, it's quite a powerful locomotive, so a lot of the line speed on this is quite high, so it's an ideal train for this route. A lot of the line speed you'll see is hitting 120 kilometres an hour, so again it's covering a big distance in a short space of time. A lot of the stations, they're quite spaced out, but you've got a lot of stations that are either closed now or just minor stations used for servicing and stuff. But a lot of the key stations like Bellinzona, Castiglione, Biasca, there's a lot of these stations that are still used as passenger services, Biasca being one of the bigger stations that was used for a lot of time as a big freight yard as well. A lot of these big rock assets we had to custom make for for this route, just to give us that alpine area. It's good to have the detail with the mountains and the terrain elevation, but then having the rock assets just pulls the detail out and adds that more ruggedness look to them, which you see in the reference. So this station we're pulling into now, this is Biasca station, which is quite a big hub in the area. It's one of the key stations on the route. You can see there's a depot building, there's a lot of tracks here, a lot of freight yard sidings, and obviously quite a big station in itself as well. Again, we've created a lot of buildings alongside the station that we've seen in the reference. Some of these key feature buildings and the station building itself, just to try and capture the look of this station. It's good to try and capture as many of these models as we can. We can't do them all, so we're trying to pick out the feature ones. And these ones at Biasca, I think, because of the colours as well, then they stand out more than others. So it was good to just try and capture some of these and create some of these buildings. So this station's one of the passenger stops on this scenario. So you can see the coaches, the passenger coaches that we've used on this loco. And I said it's also got the driving coach at the rear, which you can use for some of the scenarios as well. Again, you can see the difference in the height with the Alps at the side of the track, and it's looks quite flat here, but it's also quite high up. The Biasca's already 200, pushing 300 metres above sea level. By the time you get to Arolo, you're talking about 1100 metres above sea level. So it's quite an expanse and incline across the route. So this is just showing the map to show where the location is. So Fado is basically our next task. We started in Bellinzona. We're heading up through Biasca, going to Fado, and then we're heading on towards Bodio, Arolo, Geschenen, and then onto Erzfeld for the end. For a route of this size, we created over 200 new 3D assets to cover the expanse of this route. You've got custom tunnels, bridges, again the 15 stations, but not only just 15 for the stations, but you've also got the buildings alongside the station. A lot of the stations have got ground plates, which essentially ground the station into the location, so they can raise it up for bridges and footbridges, over bridges, features like that. You can see there's custom bridges along here. Embankment walls was another one that was used quite a lot, so we wanted some variation in the embankment walls that we've seen in the survey reference. Same with embankments and fences in general. It's just good to have a few different variations that we've seen in the reference that we could use along the route. Again, the map's showing the player location of the train and where we are in the map versus the next task that we want to do. Picking up passengers at Fido. You can see the loop tunnels there, first two we'll encounter, and then up to Arolo before you go through the tunnel. So the section that's just coming up here, this is where the new base tunnel was constructed. The new base tunnel is obviously a lot more longer and modern than the original historic one that was built in the 1900s that features on the route. For the route, we've basically placed the time period just before the base tunnel was finished and connected, because we wanted to capture the historic tunnel, and we thought that would be a good one to do for the first route, was to have the historic tunnel and the original loops, and the freight traffic that goes across it as well, which was quite nice. You can see here the different styles of urban housing and stuff that we created just to capture that variation across the window view. And you've got Bodio station that we just passed there, the Boy station, quite distinct in colour. And it's again quite a feature station because of the colour and the layout. This section is basically a combination of the two spiral tunnels that basically allow the loco to climb the incline difference. So I think it's basically climbing from, it's almost doubling, so that's 600 metres, increasing up to almost 1,000 metres above sea level. So this is basically, it's a double spiral. So when the locomotive goes in, you can see up in the hill where there's an exit coming out, and it's quite nice for the scenic shots, because you'll see the loco going into the spiral, and then you'll see it a couple of minutes later come out at the top of the spiral. So it's quite a nice kind of touristy shot. So these spirals, they're all different lengths. There's quite a few spirals. They're talking 1,540 metres. So it's quite a long spiral. But with the speed of this train as well, I mean, it's doing 80 kilometres an hour through this spiral. So it's quite quick to go in and out. And then when you see the exit, then you're obviously you're up on the high viaduct that you could see in the way in. So it basically comes out of one spiral and then it's only for a short section, and then through another small tunnel and then into another spiral, which is the second one, and that takes it up to that increasing height that you need. And then this is all kind of working its way up to the actual Gotthard tunnel. So this is, the loco has just basically exited the first spiral and it's going through a small tunnel just up ahead. You can see all the viaducts that support all the track and roads in this area. And then it'll basically go through this other tunnel and then it'll come out just above on the mountain. Both of them are about 1,500 metres in length, these spiral tunnels. The main logic behind this line was they could only dig through the Alps for essentially back in the 1900s, it was like that, 9 miles. So they had to basically try and get the train up the mountain so far so they could dig through that 9-mile tunnel to get out the other side. So these spirals which they've created inside the mountain, these are basically allowing the train to climb almost 700-800 metres in sea level to reach that tunnel height that they need. And this is us coming out the second one, so you can see the difference in height before we were away down there at the left. And you've also got the roads that are also going through tunnels in this area. So this is just a short tunnel now and then we'll be back out again. So you can see in this hub here there's a lot of infrastructure that we've just passed through to allow the train to climb that altitude. And even they've put in that, all that infrastructure for the roads as well. So there's a lot of work in this area and a lot of bridges and viaducts and tunnels. So this is the approach to Faedo station, which is just another passenger station. But you can see just along here that again we've got another style of these custom bridges. I think these ones divert water coming down from the mountain across the track. So again, even here you can see just the difference in heights across the land, the terrain. The station's raised up, obviously almost level on the right hand side, but quite a big drop on the left. So I like this infrastructure we had to model and create in game to try and get it to strike the balance, so it all felt as if it belonged. The colours of the stations and houses round about as well, they're quite nice features for this location. But you see that throughout this route, that there's quite a lot of different colours and housing and stuff, which just adds a wee bit more variety to it, especially in the winter when the colours stand out a lot more. So you can see these custom rock asset tunnels that we had to create for a lot of these. This one here is just like a feature just after Fido station. It's just before you come into the other spiral tunnels. But you can see it's quite an iconic rock feature. And then this is going into the other spiral tunnel. So there's 2 spiral tunnels, again a pair, just between Fido and Ambri Piotta. You can see the train going around the spiral tunnel. So again there's a lot of this infrastructure for these spiral tunnels for both roads and railway to again increase the height across this line. Again it's really nice and scenic, again in winter as well, it's really nice. There's a lot of nice scenery, a lot of nice rocky outcrops and formation. This is approaching the second spiral tunnel. We've got a short tunnel first and then the second larger spiral tunnel. So this spiral tunnel will bring us out closer to Ambri Piotta and then leading into Arolo, which is just before the main Gotthard tunnel. So this is always a nice shot with the train going across this viaduct when it exits this spiral tunnel and goes into another short tunnel. It's a really nice route in winter. It's quite atmospheric with the snow coming down and the hills and stuff. It kind of captures that well. So as we exit this tunnel we're just approaching Arolo station. This is the entrance point to the Gotthard historic tunnel. So this is the main station between, you've got the Gotthard tunnel in between Arolo and Goshenin. The tunnel is 9 miles long, 15 kilometres. It's been there for over 100 years now. And it's really obviously key infrastructure for this part of the railway. So Arolo had a lot of warehouses and factories round about it and stuff, elevated tracks, so we've created a few assets round about here to try and capture the feel of Arolo just as you're coming into it, with these big depot warehouse style buildings on the side. You can see the other commuter traffic passing us just as we come into Arolo. It's quite a big station with quite a lot of sidings. This is an ideal station hub just before you go into this Gotthard tunnel. Again you can see we've created quite a lot of 3D assets round about here to try and capture the feel and look of the station. There's quite a lot of stuff on the platform with buildings and access stairs, and quite a few buildings at the side, and we've tried to do a representation of the memorial that's there at Arola for the building of the Gotthard tunnel. So this is the most recent route that we've released, the Bernina Line. This is a Swiss metre gauge line. Basically we picked this route. This is quite a big scenic route. It's the third highest railway in Switzerland, the highest railway in Europe. It traverses over 1500 metres above sea level across its length. It's not actually that long a route in terms of distance compared to Gotthard, but the incline for the route is really, really high, and basically it requires this kind of special type of locomotive that we've chosen. It's the ABE 812 Allegra multiple unit that runs on Bernina Line. There's a few different variations of the multiple unit, but we've chose the 812, the Allegra one, which is quite an iconic one. The 812 in the Allegra name basically means that there's 12 axles across the multiple unit, and 8 of them are driving axles, so this allows the loco to basically traverse this high incline, but also pull some freight wagons at the back of the passenger wagons as well, so they can take some freight across the line as well. So again, that's a big advantage, and it's quite a popular locomotive in the area. It incorporates the ZSI 90 safety system, which we've implemented in TS1. So that's quite a good feature to have. There's a lot of information on the manual to do with the locomotive and the safety system and how it works. In terms of the route, it's quite a slow urban route. Mostly it's under 50 kilometres an hour, and you'll see why whenever it's playing through a scenario. You're effectively driving down the main road, going through the towns. It starts off in Tirano, which is an Italian town, and then it heads north into Switzerland. So it's essentially crossing the border between Italy and Switzerland. So again, that was another advantage of choosing it, because it's quite iconic in that way. There's a selection of freight wagons available that you can choose on different consists. You've got timber, container and tanker wagons that you can use in your consists if you're doing quick drive. In the scenarios in this one in particular, which is a summer scenario, you can see that it's got timber wagons in the back of the train, and you can see just as it's starting off here how slow the train is proceeding. It's only 30 kilometres an hour. It's going through this quite densely urban town of Tirano, and it's quite scenic, and you've basically got houses on either side of the loco. And just up here as it gets into the centre of the town, you can see how basically it's alongside the traffic of the cars as it passes over the road and through the middle of the town. Again, like Gotthard and Siselva, it's quite a scenic route. There's quite a lot of nice photographic shots here. There's a lot of good opportunities just to see the locomotive coming through this kind of tightly occupied urban area. It's quite dense, but also quite scenic with the Alps in the background. You can see for this particular section the speed's dropped to 15 kilometres an hour. And for this route in particular, we created a lot of iconic houses and a lot of generic style housing, both Italian and Swiss style housing, that we could use across the route. There's a lot of iconic buildings, churches especially, there's quite a lot of them in the route. Iconic viaducts and other features. So you can see here just as about it's coming through the centre square, past the iconic church. It's quite a popular destination for tourists, and it's quite nice just to see the train travelling through here. And in TS1 you'll see that the car traffic stopped to allow the train to come through this part, and then the car traffic will be allowed to continue just as it is in real life, and it will drive alongside the train, this small section just up ahead. So you can see the timber load on the back of the wagons. So you can see all the car traffic has been stopped so the train can get past. And then when the train passes, then the cars will be allowed to go again, and they'll be driving alongside the train. A lot of these locations with the hand model, a lot of this street pavement road layout with the track modelled into it, just sort of gives that perfect fit of just recreating the area. Again, you can see the Italian style houses that we created just to set off the area. So you can see how tightly it is here with the road traffic on the side and the train going through the houses. And there was a lot of nice clutter and prop assets that we created for this route, just to give different variation in railings and walls, and all this roadside clutter that you see in the area. A lot of these bridges and crossovers and stuff are all hand modelled. You can see the steep incline that the locomotive's got to climb up. I think in parts it's 7 metres and 100, I think. So you can see how steep it is just as the loco is climbing up this section here. The interior of the Allegra's nicely modelled in this train as well. You can see a lot of the custom embankments and bridge assets that we've had to model just to cover this area and have it looking realistic, matching the reference that we had. There's quite a lot of height variation across the route. So this is just approaching the town of Campocalogno. I hope I've pronounced that right. So this is basically into Switzerland now, so we've left Italy, came across the border, and this is into more of an kind of industrial, I think it's a customs town or something. It's got a lot of hydroelectric power and stuff nearby, iconic church on the hill as well. But you can see that it's still quite a dense urban town, and you can see the other Allegra's been waiting because it's single track coming up that steep incline. Then the Allegra that's heading south is basically waiting to repass, and then that can proceed down the line down to Tirano again. So again, you can see how close the architecture is in the urban environment to us, to the station. It's almost like the train's stopping on your doorstep. So just as we leave the station, we're heading towards Campascio next. But you can see that the track's changed to single track line again. You've got a couple of sidings coming off here that are more for industrial access, and you can see how tight the access is with the bends going round here. So again, it's back to single track with the main road alongside, and again you can see how it's steep, it's still climbing across this route. You get some really great shots with the train coming up these steep inclines and the hills of the Alps at either side. Again, you can appreciate the power of the locomotive, and it's not just the passenger multiple unit, but it's also towing the timber wagons at the rear. So again, this continues to climb all the way up to Marilago, and then it'll level out a wee bit more. But this is essentially the biggest incline change for the route DLC. The actual Bernina line does carry on to Sant Moritz, where it continues to climb. So this is just Le Prese station that we're passing here, which is the minor passenger station. So this is just approaching the Brugio Spiral Viaduct. It's quite a key iconic feature in the area. You see a lot of photographs taken here. So the trains basically go goes through the viaduct and then goes round it to increase in height. It's about 110 metres in radius across the circle that they mapped out for the viaduct. It's about a 7% gradient incline in terms of the distance, the short distance across the viaduct and the difference in incline. I think from the track level the viaduct's about 16 metres high, but you can see how the train works its way around. This is a key location to allow the train to get up to the height that it needs to be at, and obviously it's very iconic and picturesque as well. It's one of the highlights of the route, the viaduct. It's nice to look back just from the passenger view and you see the viaduct that you've just inclined. So you can see the train just passing the town of Brugio, so this is coming into Brugio station in a few minutes. Again, you can see that the train line itself is still climbing quite a steep incline. So this is the station of Brugio. So again, you can see it's back down to a single line narrow gauge track again. So they basically just got it passing places at the stations, and then it's mainly single track all the way. But you can see how tight and steep that the incline is here just after Brugio station. So you can see in this section there's a lot of nice custom assets for houses and props and clutter that we've created just to capture that view that you see in the reference pictures. Quite a lot more rural up here as well from the Tirano that we left at the start of the scenario. A lot of custom bridges that were made as one-offs just for that particular section. You can see the height difference here between the railway and the road when we've come up that steeper incline, and the river further down as well. So this is the approach to Marilago station, and you've got Posciavo Lake and the station alongside the lake, and there's nice buildings alongside. It's quite a big scenic touristy part. So we put a lot of work into trying to recreate this area. And it looks really good in the game, really nice with the lake and the view out over from the train. You can see the custom bridges that we created here, and just as you go around the corner here towards the station you can see the lake coming into view. And this area just opens out nicely with the lake there, you can see all the way across. And we're just into scenario here at this station. and that shows a good wee summary of the Bernina Line, which was the last route that we put out in November 2019. So this kind of summarises basically what we've been showing, and in terms of the route and the content that we've created over the past year, the 3 routes and a few local DLC packs. But it was just good to pick out Gotthardbahn and Bernina Line because they're the pinnacle routes for first route and our most recent one, just to show some of the content that we've produced. And also we'll be looking to create more content in the coming year. We're looking at various ideas, but we very much like the Switzerland stuff now, so we're enjoying that for the past year. So for the past year we've enjoyed very much making more content with Dovetail Games for their products. We've very much enjoyed creating the Swiss routes. We're looking forward to creating a lot more content in collaboration with Dovetail Games in the future.